Awesome. So this afternoon I'm chatting with Bloom. Hiya, Bloom. How you doing?
Hello, I'm very good.
That's really good. Thank you. This is the second in the, what did I call it in the end? I think like Finding Gold or something. I think that's what I've called the series. So I saw Bloom was sharing her new single, which I love, by the way. It's super cool. Do you know I'm a musician as well? Did Nick tell you that?
I didn't know this.
Oh yeah, yeah. So there's a whole other conversation we could have. But yeah, I studied music at Manchester.
Oh, excellent.
So yeah, that's a kind of like a current life and a past life. So because I'm a bit snobby, I thought, oh, I can have an even better view of this, because seriously, I loved it. We can talk about that. But
That's
you wrote a phrase, didn't you, about hiding under the kitchen table or something
yeah,
like that.
indeed.
So, and then how you came out from under the kitchen table. So, can you talk about that? Because when I heard that, I thought, oh, there's some gold in here. So, over to you.
Well, I have only just came out from under the kitchen table last night when I wrote a new line in my document.
Oh,
And that was a revelation because I've had my document for a year now. And this one was hiding in plain sight under the kitchen table, this judgment. So freshly revealed. And so this is very fresh.
yeah, this is really fresh, isn't it? Like last night.
Yes,
Yeah.
literally.
Well, this is the whole essence of this series, is finding this fresh gold and then not just sharing the content, but the energy too. So great. Carry on. Carry on. I'll shush.
Yeah, so the kitchen table, I became aware of it, and it was a recurring phrase for me in many. It used to even be in my bio, right?
Oh, wow.
It's like I like to hide under the kitchen table, but it was kind of this, safe space that somehow contained a paradox that I couldn't see. I could see that there was a paradox, but I couldn't see what it was.
Wow.
It's like, where are my glasses? And they're here. You kind of know
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
can't see them because you're not wearing your glasses.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
So
love that.
it's that kind of weird state of mind. So basically, um, this last year, I had so much transformation happening in my whole being. And as I wrote my document, do I need to explain what that is?
No, no, no. Let's. Well, you can. If it helps, does it? Do you think it helps set the scene for the story? If it helps, just say a little bit about it, because,
Yeah.
like, even people who know what a document is, I think each time we hear something, we, consciously or not, we come to it fresh and we hear via the energy of whoever's speaking, and that just speaks to us in a different way. So yeah, vamp away. Say what you need to say about it.
So for me, the document is you collect all these judgments throughout your life that creates this container that define the limits of who you are being, right? So it's like the edges of a map are defined by your limiting judgments. Now, I was really obsessed with harvesting shadows, as I used to call them. I was like, I want to deal with my shadows because I can sense very profoundly their limiting effect on me, and yet I couldn't find them. And I always imagined them to be some kind of dark, creepy cellar with like a basement of doom and gloom, something dark, and I couldn't find it. And then as I started working on my document a year ago, it was very different from what I expected. What I found were judgments innocently and often lovingly made by mostly children, i.e. me as a child. But So throughout my childhood and later on, they were just innocent misconceptions that something that happened that was painful, or had quite a challenging childhood, and a lot of these little judgments grew out to be these boundaries that that were keeping a certain worldview in place. And I never really saw how I could forgive either, but when I saw who created these judgments, right, I have children, knowing that someone so young makes this judgment to protect themselves, that just moved me to my core. So it was then suddenly so easy to forgive myself. Not always, some were more sticky, right? And then I had to work and sit with them. But generally, I found that that's where the compassion is to be found, to know that they weren't created to contain yourself, but they were created from love and needing to protect yourself, or in innocence. They were made in innocence.
That's so beautiful. Can you just say that last piece again? There's something so profound in that. Just say what you just said again, that last section.
The judgments were made lovingly from innocence.
Yeah. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think you said something like they weren't made to contain, or something like that. They came from love. I've never thought of it like that. It's beautiful. Anyway, carry on. It's amazing. Yeah.
And then it's beautiful how it arises what is more true. And that, in my experience, is, I don't know, I love sharing and exchanging documents with people. And my document isn't just for me. It's that as I see that I am that there's only one truth, which points to what we all are. We all are that. And the words, they are subjective and specific for me to remember. And each line is, in reality, only that one truth that it points to. It's like a prism. Whereas the judgments are like a prison. But
oh, wow, yeah.
Prism, and from all angles you can...
that's such a distinction, prism versus prison. I'm just writing it down because, as predicted, this is gold. Wow. I couldn't. One of the challenges with doing these things is you get so lost in doing it. I can't always keep track. So whatever you just said that led to prism versus prison was off the chart beautiful. You said something like every line, whilst it's subjective to you, is really stating what we all are or who we all are. Is that something like it?
Yeah.
Wow.
I find that it can't just be used for myself, but how I see everyone.
Yeah.
One line in mine that I found that was a very stubborn judgment, and the line is, I am perfect, whole and complete, as I know my children to be perfect, whole and complete. Because I saw, maybe if I can't see this for myself at all times, I could always see that my children are that. And that means that I am that. And it means that everyone is that, because that wholeness, that is what we are all. And then it occurred to me more and more that each line of the document is applicable to everyone. And we use different words, but that's so, it rings to us more specifically, but they all point to the same thing.
That's beautiful. I really hope people just I just kind of feel like I'm bathing in the love and the simplicity of what you're saying. It's really it's simple and completely profound in equal measure. Wonderful. Keep going.
I'm just realizing that even now, just thinking about what the document for me evokes is very physical as well. It's like,
Yeah.
you know.
No, that's really interesting, because just as we were talking there, I paused and my neck clicked. Like tension came out, and then you said about it being very physical for you. I'm like, oh yeah, that's how I'm feeling it. This is a really physical experience.
Mm.
That's beautiful.
Returning to the kitchen table,
Yeah,
this one was a tricky one because I noticed everything was really, oh God, my life this last year has gone completely upside down. I'm sat here in my flat, but I didn't have a place to live for 9 months. I mean, I stayed at temporary places with friends, but it was somehow that it was just taken by the roots, and just everything had to be built. Literally, I had to put the floors in this place myself. And
yeah,
just doing that made me feel this is real. I am building something here. Properly this time, the right way around, with every bit carefully chosen. And yet over this year, so lots of stuff happened. I was there's an album that I wanted to make for 20 years. I had this vision,
really.
and it had gamelan in it, which is
Oh yeah.
and
Mm.
I never made it, right? I did other stuff, lots of projects, but never this one. And with the statement, I am that I take full responsibility for the life I create. I am that I rule my destiny. I took matters in my own hand and started finishing my album properly, my whole being. And it's an album about being, and it's, in a way, it is all about this, because this whole quest for being has been, that's what all my songs are about. So it's all wonderfully connected.
Yeah,
So, however, I noticed that I wasn't sharing it. My being, my journey, my wasn't. There was always an excuse not to show up on social media, not to engage too much in sharing my path. Hardly anyone knows yet that I'm a coach because I never posted it.
yeah,
And that I found that it was such a struggle to post on social media, to force myself to do it. Whereas I thought, but it could be lighthearted and fun, but why is it not? There's so much resistance. And I started suspecting that there was
yeah,
awful judgment that was
yeah,
hiding somewhere. And I spoke many times about the kitchen table because it was apparent that I was hiding under the kitchen table. In fact, I used this metaphor all the time. The paradox about it was that it was also so very comfortable that it's where I create from.
Oh wow.
I like being under the kitchen table, right? It's
Yeah,
comfortable there, and I
yeah.
create from there. So what happened last night? I suddenly saw how this judgment was created. I saw very clearly that this is actually a very kitchen table shaped limiting belief.
Yeah, yeah.
very firmly in place and so embedded that I couldn't even see it as a judgment. It just seemed like a truth. It just seemed a fact.
Wow.
That and so we had a session yesterday, Nick and I, about this. And I came to see who created the judgment. And I realized this is maybe my first one that I ever created. And I remember being a very young child, and there were adults speaking in the third person and about me, and I found it extremely unpleasant. And then they addressed me in this way that I also found unpleasant, and I decided to become a cat. I'm just going to be a cat.
Yeah.
Because then, I'm just comfortable, and I had a cat. And in fact, I spent lots of time under the kitchen table with this very cat. But at that moment, I became a cat also, and I licked my paw. And when people would try to speak to me, and they would say, "Oh, she's so shy." but then I was a cat, so they could no longer say that. "Oh, she's just a cat." So that's why. And I didn't have to engage in interactions that I found unpleasant at that age.
Yeah.
Also, my mom had some mental health issues, and the kitchen table concept grew as I felt often unsafe, and it felt really unsafe to share my inner world with her, because she would often shame me, and I felt exposed, which felt quite excruciating.
Yeah.
Then under this kitchen table, I started to create universes that were safe, that were really quite vast, and everything I needed could exist in those. Everything was exactly the way I wanted it. So I became a creator of universes under that very kitchen table, which led me to realize that I could also forgive my mom for how I grew up. Because if I hadn't had this experience of, with my own thoughts and imagination, I could create anything.
Yeah.
I could even create a sense of safety within that. And I suddenly saw that I wouldn't be like this now.
Yeah.
Had I not had that experience, I could be something very different, and I'm quite happy as I am now. So I found there is gratitude in that. It no longer serves me to hide, because I don't have to be under the kitchen table to create. And create from anywhere, because it's the inner world. It's within that is what creates, not what's around it. Therefore, I said goodbye to the kitchen table. And what is more true is that I am a universe that shares itself openly, freely, and generously for the world to take delight. So.
Thank you.